Alright everybody, welcome in. This is BimbyNation.com. Welcome back here to another video. And guys, today we're going to be reacting to, I don't know if this is every NBA trade deadline move, but we're going to be talking about majority of them. I'm going to try to get most of them down here. I'm using here on this app. I don't know if, like I said, I don't know if things are going on, but we're just going to go ahead and react to what happened in the NBA trade deadline. Like I said, I don't know if this is all the moves, but this is just all the big ones that I heard of, and I'm basically going to be reacting to everything that happened in this website here that I have pulled up here. So if you guys haven't already, make sure you hit the like, subscribe button, make sure you hit join the Discord, links in the description, make sure you guys do follow me on Twitch, links in the description as well. Make sure you guys do follow me on all social media platforms. I really do appreciate it. And this channel is free to subscribe, not sponsored by anything. You guys haven't already, make sure you hit the like, subscribe button. Come on, we're only 10 subscribers away from 600 subs, so let's go ahead and see if we can get there by mid this month or something like that. But without further ado, guys, like I said, we have a lot of trades, a lot of stuff going on this month. So without further ado, guys, I really do appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you guys so much for being part of the show. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the video. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so we are back here at the list here, or the website here. Like, so we're going to be reacting to every single season move. And I didn't really include the but I did include this one here. The Wizards added fortunately Trae Young. It's just going to be keep going like that, and we're just going to be reacting to it. Also, I'll let you guys know who won, in my opinion, who I think won the deal. You guys can comment as well if we defer. Alright, so the first things first here, the Wizards add Trae Young to the roster. They got Trae Young, Atlanta receives CJ McCollum and Kazimierz Script. And the first script is Hawks versus Wizards here. I do like this move for Washington. I really do. I think Trae Young, I think he's a really star. Listen, this guy is still a star in the league. He's still an all-star type potential player, if I'm being honest. Washington, I know they kind of hit the, like, they're going through a rebuild, but I don't know what part of the rebuild that Washington's doing here. That's going to be pretty interesting here. We're going to find out next year because they made a couple other moves that we'll talk about later in this video, but like I said, going through a rebuild, I mean, I get getting Trae Young because you do need like a star player to build around your future. Like, you want to build somebody around like your main guy, and maybe Trae Young could be that main guy in Washington. I just don't know how the formation is going to look just yet. That's just years to come. So we'll see how overall it plays out for Washington. But I do like this is a decent move here for Atlanta. So somewhere to build your future around going into the future, or if you want to start next year, maybe you can start looking around next year. But I do like this is a decent move here for Atlanta. I meant for Washington, but Atlanta here to get CJ McCollum and Kazimierz. Actually, I do like this move as well for Atlanta. I think this is a tie. I think both teams really nailed this one. I like Atlanta because he gets CJ McCollum. He's a pretty good, decent scorer, and I think Atlanta over the course of the year when they had Trae Young, I think they've been playing better without Trae Young. So I do. I think this move makes sense here for Atlanta. CJ McCollum is a pretty good scorer, and I don't know too much about Corey Krsipke. I don't even know if I'm saying his last name right, but yeah. But either way, these are two decent moves here for both teams here. Let's see how both teams do going into the second half of the season here. But really like the two decent moves here for both of these two team squads. Moving on here, we got a 3-team deal here. We got the Cavs, we got the Bulls, and we got the Kings in this deal. So basically what this is a 3-team deal, and I'm pretty sure this is the first thing that happened going into the trade deadline. If you guys see the parentheses, that's what the date's in. That's what the deal was officially finalized. So here we go. Cavaliers added Dennis Schroeder 3-team deal. Cleveland, Chicago, Sacramento's in this. Cleveland receives Keon Ellis, Dennis Schroeder, and Emilio Willard from the Bulls. Chicago receives Doyle Stars 2027 and the 2029 second round pick, and Sacramento receives DeAndre Hunter from Cleveland. I'll go ahead and get into the winner of this. I think Cleveland won this deal. I think out of any team, I think Cleveland definitely deserves to win. Definitely won this trade here. I mean, because Cleveland overall, we think they're a pretty good team. Actually, it should be a really good team. They should be one of the favorites to come out of the Eastern Conference this year. I call them the best team going into the East going into the year, and I know they haven't been consistent, but I'm not gonna back up on that just yet. I think that team's actually got a little better. We've seen Cleveland this year. Like they have a good team. Like they have a good size. They have a good big and Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. Really like how them two have been playing here. I really do like their bench. I mean not their bench, but I really do like some of their skill players on their bench. And yeah, they have a great starting five. Like that team is set. I think that team is ready to win now. And it feels like when you watch this Cavs team this year, they've been struggling. I mean, if they're struggling in any department during that team, it's the guards. And I do. It just felt like with Darius Garland being out of line, it kind of felt like they were struggling to get some type of offense. Like they were leaning a lot on Donovan Mitchell here. And I do like these two moves here, especially going to the playoffs here. Keon Ellis, we all know he's a big scorer. I've been a big fan of him ever since he's been with the Sacramento Kings. Really like how he scored a rock. I think he's going to be huge. I think he's going to play a big part of this Cleveland team. Dennis Schroeder, you're getting somebody that's been in the playoffs moments before. You're getting a veteran who's been in the playoffs, been in these situations. So maybe him and Donovan Mitchell get going here. I think he's a really good. I think he's a pretty decent backup point guard if you want to have a new roster. So, and then Miller, like I said, I don't know too much about him, but overall, I do think Cleveland won this deal out of 3. Next one here, I'm gonna go to Chicago here. They got Dario Saric. I do like him. I think he's a very underrated center. I mean, I know Chicago get rid of Vucevic, and we'll get to that in a minute, but they also pick up some future draft capital, 2020, 2027 second round pick. I don't really get this for Chicago. I don't really understand it. And then Sacramento, they got DeAndre Hunter. I mean, he's a good scorer, but at the same time, like the Kings is just confusing because the roster is just confusing. Like you get rid of majority of your point guards. Now you have Zach LaVine probably running point guard. Like they have like guys are like kind of out of position. I don't really know what direction Sacramento's headed. Like they have decent pieces. Like they have DeMar, they have Zach LaVine, they have Sabonis if he's still there. Right now he is still there. They have DeAndre Hunter. I'm looking at his roster. I'm like, I don't know how they fit. I just don't know how the pieces fit here. So we'll see what Sacramento does here. But that is the 3-team deal here. Like I said, I do think Cleveland won this deal. Next up, we got some big news here from the Pistons that you will be kind of shocked that we're making moves because how good they have been this year. Anyway, here Detroit is getting Kevin Huerter, Darius Saric, and a 2026 protected swap here, and that's huge. In Chicago, this is also another 3-team trade here. Chicago is also trading Mike Conley, Jaden Ivey, and Minnesota getting some Cavs considerations. I don't know about that, but anyway, like I said, if you guys just heard something, I do apologize in advance. I was recording a video as I was recording this, so I'm sorry if you guys just heard something there. Anyway, here, I think the winner of this trade is definitely Detroit. I mean, your team is already good already, and I think we saw that from this year. They've been dominating this year, and not only did your team that I think you think your team to just get better. You got Kevin Huerter, who's probably one of the better 3-point shooters in the NBA. You got Saric, who's probably one of the more underrated centers in the league, and then you get a next year's first round protected swap, which means no team can do anything in the NBA about that. So this is from Minnesota as well. So very like this move for Detroit. I think Detroit is really headed to like a win now type situation here. A lot of them is safe from Detroit this year. A lot of them is safe from their trades. Chicago gets Mike Conley, get Jaden Ivey. I do like Jaden Ivey as like a good decent scorer for Chicago. I think he'll be big with them. I think his opportunities will go there. Mike Conley, like I said, I think he's a pretty decent player. I think he'll get his chance. The Minnesota Cavs considerations. I don't know what this means in the NBA. If you guys know in the comments, make sure you please let me know. I don't really specifically know what that means, but cast considerations, I don't know what that really means. So I'll give a skip on that. But yeah, I think Detroit won this deal out of 3 teams here. Next up, we got some shit that I wasn't really expecting here, but the Grizzlies trade Jaren Jackson Jr. to the Utah Jazz, and I am shocked about this. I mean, I know Memphis is kind of like on a rebuild mode, and I kind of know Memphis just wants to kind of start over, and I completely get it because they had a couple losing seasons ever since they made the playoffs. What was it, 2022? Last time they made the playoffs. I mean, they competed with the Warriors pretty well, and they lost in the first round here. But anyway, here Utah receives Jaren Jackson Jr., Jock Landale, John Kador, and Vince Williams Jr. Jr. And then Memphis receives Walter King. They get Kyle Anderson back, who was a former Grizzly. And then they get Taylor Higgins, George Niang, and 3 future first-round picks. And this right here, I think this is huge. If Memphis gets 3 first-round picks for this from the Jazz, I think that's huge. Now, we don't know what year they're going to be. We don't know if they're going to be this year, next year, or we don't know what it's going to be sold for. But anyway, here, I think this is like a 50-50 split here. Like I said, the Jazz are getting a really capable, like, all-star type big in Jaren Jackson Jr. I mean, he might not be an all-star, but he might be like that tier below type contender. So if you can get him with his opportunities in Utah, he could be really good for you. Plus, he's already a really good defender. So, and then I do like a couple of these players that they have here that Utah is getting here. Memphis is getting Kyle Anderson. Like I said, he is a former Memphis Grizzly. He's going back to the Grizzlies here. Walton Clayton Jr., George Niang. I do like that Utah didn't really have to force or get rid of their main guys. I'm talking like Keontae George. They be able to keep him, Lauri Markkanen, Walker Kessler. So I will say that Utah won this deal just because they didn't really get rid of those assets, and then you're bringing in Jaren Jackson Jr., who probably will be, you're starting 4, starting 5. So I'll probably give the slash to Utah here. I think Utah won this deal. I think they get star power, and they'll be able to keep their main 3 guys on their team, like I just mentioned. George, Deontay George, Lauri Markkanen, and Walker Kessler. So if you would give those guys and get Jaren Jackson Jr., I think that's a huge win for you. So yeah, I'll take the Jazz here in a squeaker here. Next, we got the Charlotte Hornets acquiring Tyus Jones here from Orlando here. Orlando getting cast considerations. Like I said, if you guys know what that means, please let me know. That's the only thing I don't really know about trade deadlines. But anyway, here Charlotte receives Tyus Jones, and this guy can light up the field. He's really good at shooting the basketball here. So, who I think won this deal? I think Charlotte does. I think they're getting a player. They're getting Tyus Jones. Like I said, I think he's a really good red shooter. And it feels like the Hornets, as we're getting into a rhythm here, like I said, the Hornets, they're probably the hottest team in basketball right now. I think Charlotte's are really trying to push for a potential playoff spot or an in-season, not in-season tournament, but a play-in tournament spot. If they keep playing the way that they're playing right now, it's shit, and especially in the East, they're going to find a way in the playoffs. But yeah, I do like this move for Charlotte. Tyus Jones, like I said, he's a really good shooter. And then they get 2 future second-round picks, and I think that's really good as well to build on that young core. So I really do like this move for Charlotte here. Orlando, I don't really get them moving off of Tyus Jones because their defense is really good. Their offense kind of struggling right now. They haven't really been the most consistent team. So I'm not a big a fan unless they need to move some cap space, and I would understand that. But I just didn't really get the move that much for Orlando here. But like I said, it could go either way here. Next up, we got a little bit of a shocking news here, but I didn't really think OKC really needed to do anything in the trade deadline, but they did. Well, they did get Mason Plumlee here from the Hornets. I mean, I'm pretty sure the Thunder can have. I'm pretty sure Charlotte, and then Charlotte gets a bunch of Niang and a 2029 second round pick from Oklahoma City. I don't think this trade really means too much of anything here, to be completely honest here, because I just don't. I don't think this is really good. I don't think this really is going to turn a big turn to like both of these 2 teams, because both of these 2 teams like going play in their own way right now. They're both hot right now. So yeah, there's really nothing to talk about here, but it's just some information there. Now we got the Sixers trading Jeremy Clayton to the Philadelphia 76ers, and the Sixers get a 2026 first round pick, and now that will definitely be huge. So whenever Oklahoma City's in, Philadelphia will get OKC's pick in the draft this year. I think and Jeremy Clayton, I don't know too much about him, but I do think he's a pretty decent player. That's why I heard. Let me guys know if you guys know in the comments below if you guys know about Jeremy Clayton. But they also get Philadelphia gets a 2026 first round pick and 3 future second round picks. Like I said, we don't know what year they're going to be. So I do like this. I do like this move here for Philadelphia. They get a 2026 first round pick and some future draft capital. That they can rely on the roster here, but like I said, this one might not really affect either team here. Next up, we have the Cleveland Cavaliers trading for James Harden. Man, the NBA is just kind of like the NFL. Like, it's just some weird shit happening here. Anyway, here I think Cleveland won this deal by a million. Like, I think they won this deal. Cleveland, they get James Harden. James Harden is one of the best individual scorers in the NBA, and now he gets to go to Cleveland. He gets to pair with Donovan Mitchell. and he gets to be around like a good core for once. Like I know the Clippers had a pretty decent core back when they made the playoffs and everything. And these last couple years they had a pretty decent core then, but I think James Harden is actually with a really good core. Like so I just mentioned earlier, they have Jared Allen, they have Evan Mobley still. They still have Donovan Mitchell. They have their star over there. Now you get James Harden in that could fill your point guard role right there for Cleveland. I think Cleveland, like I said before, I think Cleveland's really starting to. I think they want to win now. I think Cleveland's like a win now team, and I think that's a big trade for Cleveland there. And I do think James Harden is going to play really well with Donovan Mitchell. I really do. And like I say, Cleveland, they already fixed their backcourt problems. They got them backup point guards. So I really do like where Cleveland's headed right now. I do. And LA receives Darius Garland. Like I say, he's a very underrated point guard. He's a former All-Star. So I think LA, once he gets healthy, I know he's injured right now, but once he gets healthy, I do think he'll be going to it. And then they get a future second round pick. But I do think Cleveland won this deal, and I don't think anybody can disagree with me there. You get James Harden, especially with those point guards, man. Like they said, I really love Cleveland's at right now. They're definitely a must-win team right now. They can definitely come out, especially in the Week Asian Conference. They could definitely come out. So yeah, really do like this move here for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Next up, we got Brooklyn trading for Hunter Tyson here. Denver is trading Hunter Tyson to the Brooklyn Nets here. I mean, he didn't really do too much of anything. He didn't really play for Denver, so that's really shocking. And the Nets also do get a 2032 second round pick. But so we'll see how it ends up for Brooklyn. Can't really depend on what's going to happen now. And then Denver received a 2026 second round pick, and least variable is going to be coming from Atlanta or the Clippers here. So we'll find out for that. But like I said, I don't think this move really affects either one of these two teams, so we'll just give it a tie. Man, I guess the Charlotte Hornets are really getting busy in the fuck, man. Charlotte's getting really busy in the trade deadline. This time they got Xavier Tillman Sr. and some cash considerations. I do like Xavier Tillman. I have watched a couple of his games. He's not the most consistent center, but he's like a get the job done type center. And then Boston receives a 2030 second round pick. I mean, you can't ever go wrong about that. But really do like this. What Charlotte's doing. I think they're really starting to be aggressive. They really want to make the playoffs, and I think this is a step. This is just an extra step forward. Next up, we got Lonzo Ball is going to be traded to the Utah Jazz here, and this is kind of like a 3-team trade here. I wonder what the third team is. Anyway, the Atlanta received Jock Landale, but the Jazz, I mean, he didn't really do too much with Utah, so I'm kind of interested to see how we'll do with the Jazz. And then Jazz between Lonzo Ball and 2 future second round picks from the Cavs. That'll be nice because, like I said, the Jazz are one of those more young teams that I think that can be really good these next couple years, especially because I do think now the Utah Jazz now have a lot of talent on the roster, so I think they can definitely wake up and build the tone around there in Utah. Of course, last couple of years, get them back to the playoff atmosphere that they were a couple years ago. So, really do like where Utah's headed here. They're starting to bring the veterans in around this young core, and I think that's pretty big here. So, I like to say, Utah's kind of like the Hornets, another team that just think that's kind of on another uprise here. So, I do like this move here for Utah. Next up, we got the Clippers trading Chris Paul to Toronto, who has not played all year, which is kind of interesting here. Anyway, Toronto receives Chris Paul. I mean, like I say, he hasn't played all year, so we can't really say too much about him. Brooklyn receives OG Ache. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm not going to try to. And in 2032 second round pick from the Raptors. And the Clippers received the rights to Mijan Markovic. Like I said, I don't know any of these players, so I have to apologize in advance. The only really one I know here is Chris Paul, and I don't know why Toronto's doing this. Maybe because they think Chris Paul could be like a general point guard, and he definitely could be. I mean, if he definitely returns, I mean Toronto that's what they're slacking of. They don't really have like a true point guard on the roster. I mean, they got Scotty Barnes, but they need like a general point guard who can run up and set up the offense, and that's definitely what Chris Paul can do there. So, but that's only if he plays. We don't know if he's gonna play this year or stuff like that. So we'll see how this trade ends up. I don't really have a winner for this deal here. I think it could go either way. It's just depending on the outcome. Now we got my Los Angeles Lakers finally making a move. We have traded for Luke Kennard, which I do, and I'm kind of back and forth on that. I'll get into here in a minute, but I want to get to Atlanta first. Anyway, Atlanta receives Gabe Vincent. Gabe Vincent was as a fan, he didn't really do too much of anything for us when he was on the Lakers. Yeah, I know he had some good performances and some clutch moments before, but I never really liked the way how Gabe Vincent matched up with the Lakers, to be completely honest with you. They also get the 2032 second round pick as well, so I know Atlanta needs some shooting. They got Gabe Vincent, so I completely understand it. And then my Lakers here, we got Luke Kennard. Now, there's two that, for me as a fan, there's a positive about this and there's a negative about this. The positive about it is we're getting Luke Kennard, and Luke Kennard is a hell of a shooter. Like, he is. I think he's literally like leading the league. I think he's like number 1 in 3-point percentage right now. Like, he is absolutely a phenomenal shooter. My only problem about this, though, is because I do think the Lakers, we really need defense. We really need somebody that can play a 3D wing, who can play on both sides of the ball, and that is not Luke Kennard. Luke Kennard, he's great on offense, but he's just another player that is not good on defense. And the Lakers, as a team, individually this year, has been playing like shit on the defensive end all year. So, like I said, I don't think it's a bad move for the Lakers. I just think that they could have been better than this, or they could have pursued to like a 3D type wing, something like that. Like I said, someone that can play defense, somebody can play offense. So it's not the worst move in the world. I mean, they'll take it. I'll definitely take the offense, but like I said, our defense is probably going to get pummeled now every single game. So we'll see if our defense picks up. Maybe I'm definitely changing my mind on this, but I just don't think so. Lakers defense has been horrible this year, so kind of back and forth with it. But I'm just at least glad that we at least made a move. Next, we got Toronto getting Trayson Jackson-Davis here, which I do think he's a very decent scorer. I think he's an underrated scorer. A lot of people are going to take a shot at me for that, but I think he is. This is a pretty decent move here for Toronto. Also, Golden State is a 2026 second-round pick, and that will be coming from my Lakers, of course. Why is it got to come from the Lakers? It's got to be anybody with the Lakers here. Anyway, here, like I said, to Trey Jackson-Davis, I think he's going to get his opportunities in Toronto. I hope he does well, but like I said, I don't really have a winner for this trade. It's a split. Next, we got the Knicks adding Joe Alvarado. And listen, I do like, actually, believe it or not, I actually do like this trade here for the New York Knicks. I really do. Because Joe Alvarado, because the Knicks already have like a bunch of talent offensively. Like Karl-Anthony Towns, if he picks up his offense, you know what he's capable of doing. Jalen Brunson, I think he's been absolutely spectacular this season. But like I said, probably all-star, superstar type potential player. You also have guys like in company bench, like Randy Shamet, who I think he's been phenomenal this year shooting the basketball, and you have like good guys on your bench. Mikal Bridges has always been consistent with his role in his defense. So I really do like this Knicks team, and I think Joe Alvarado could be like another Drew Holiday type player for them, another Mikal Bridges type player. Yeah, he's probably not going to give you the scoring that you need, but he's definitely a hell of a defender. He'll definitely wear the best players out. We see it time and time again in the playoffs with New Orleans. I think this is a hell of a trade for the Knicks. I think the Knicks got even better. The Knicks are another one of those teams, like I'm saying, like the Cavs. Like they're going all in to win this year, and I do think that the Knicks is a really good trade for them. Anyway, New Orleans here to get General Terry, 2 second-round picks and cash considerations. Like I said, I do think the Knicks won this trade. I think that's what New Orleans is getting here. I do like New York. I think New York won this trade here. They said New York's going all in. I don't think the Knicks really want to protect about picks because they're pretty young and they want to win right now. They're like a win right now team. So I understand this for the Knicks. This is a good move for them, and hopefully that works out for them. Next up, we got the Charlotte Hornets again. They're gonna snag Kobe White from the Chicago Bulls, and they're gonna get Mike Conley as well. Like I said, I love this move here for Charlotte. I really do. Kobe White, we know what he's capable of. He can throw up like 20 bombs, 30 bombs. Like we have seen games like in the last couple years of Kobe White that he can go out there and just lit up a team. So I love this move for Charlotte. I think Kobe White is gonna play awesome for Charlotte. I think Charlotte's one of those big winners in the like I said, Charlotte is just really pushing it. They're really going in to make the playoffs this year, and I really do appreciate that. Anyway, Chicago's gonna get Colin Sexton, a 2029 second round pick, a 2031 second round pick, and a 2031 second round pick. But both of those teams coming from Denver and New York. But anyway, here the second round pick is least favorable. Is going to be coming from Charlotte or Denver. So we'll see what comes out of that. Colin Sexton's a pretty decent scorer for Chicago. Like I said, I don't really know what direction Chicago's heading in. I don't know if they're heading in the rebuild or if they're trying to push it to win the playoffs this year. I don't know what direction they're headed, but I really do love this move for Charlotte. Like I said, Charlotte is getting really aggressive in the trade deadline, kind of like what I wanted the Lakers to do, and you gotta give them credit. They have absolutely balled out with it. Next up, we got the Phoenix Suns stealing Cole Anthony here from the Bucks. I mean, I don't really get any one of three of these moves for the team. Like I said, Milwaukee is just kind of one of those teams that I just don't know what kind of situation that they're going into. I don't know if they're pushing for the playoffs, or I don't know if they're kind of leaning towards a rebuild with Giannis. We know that they're keeping Giannis because they kind of admitted it, but there's been a lot of talks about Milwaukee and see what's going on with Giannis. But I think honestly, I think he's staying there. I don't think he's going anywhere. But I don't know what kind of assets they're getting here. Phoenix is kind of on the same boat. Like I said, they kind of lost Devin Booker, not for the season, but they kind of lost it for a while now. But they do get Cole Anthony, who I think is a pretty decent scorer, and Amari Coffey. Like I said, I don't know too much about him, but make sure you guys let me know if you guys have. And then Chicago gets Nick Richards here. I think he's a pretty decent defender. I don't think he's going to be the offense I think he's going to give you, but I do know that he's going to be the defense, and Chicago probably does need some defense, so I do think that's a pretty decent move with Chicago here, but don't really know who to really pick as the winner here for this 3-team trade. I don't really do it. It's just the uncertainty of where these three teams are at right now, so it's kind of confusing right now just to really tell who really wins this. Next up here, I love this one from Minnesota. Next up, we got the Timberwolves are trading for Dosunmu from the Bulls. Like I said, I love this move from Minnesota. I really do. Number one, because they already have a really good offense. So and plus they don't have to really give up too much of anyone on their roster. Like they didn't have to give up like Naz Reid. They didn't have to give up like guys like Dante DiVincenzo. Like Jaden McDaniels. Like they were able to keep all these guys. And now you add Jordan Dosunmu, who was actually really good with the Bulls. Like I like Minnesota. I think you guys have just really upgraded your roster with this position. I don't think you guys know. I think Dosunmu, he's a really good ass player. He's a very underrated player. He's kind of like that 3D player that I really wanted my Lakers to get. That's why I wish he was a Laker, because he could do things like he's a good defender and he's a pretty decent offensive player. And like I said, that's just what the Lakers need. But I think the Lakers really need to push somebody like this, but it didn't. Minnesota, you're gonna have a lot of fun with him, and he's definitely gonna ball out for you guys. And you guys get Juwan Phillips as well, which I do think is another decent player. Chicago here. I just don't understand what they're doing. I think Chicago is just trying to go for a rebuild. That's what I think Chicago's really trying to do here, because they're basically trading away all their good assets, and hopefully that they can get some stuff in the but I'm looking at all these and I'm just thinking that Chicago, they're probably going for a rebuild. To be completely honest, I think Chicago's just gonna try to shut it down, go for a complete rebuild. So don't know what Chicago's doing here. But like I said, I love this move from Minnesota, and if Zubu goes off, then they could be top dogs in the Western Conference. Next up, we got Vucevic. He went to the Celtics. The Bulls trade him here. Anyway, here I love this move for the Celtics here. They gave Vucevic in the 2027 second round pick. I think that's the right move for the Celtics, because the Celtics, it felt like their main weakness so far this year, even though they've been relatively good this year. They've been a little bit struggling on like the center position here. They had to ride with guys that they never had to roll out before in years past. Even when Jason Tatum was out, they had to go deeper into their bench and onto their depth here. And now you get Vucevic, who's a very underrated center in my opinion. He's not like an all-star type potential, but he's a player that can score the rock pretty well. We've seen the times with Chicago that he has like all these like 10, like 15, 20-point games. He'll probably give us around that. And I think he'll be in a good system playing with how the Celtics, especially their starting five: Derek White, Peyton Pritchard, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum if he comes back. I think he'll fit well with this team. So I do like this move for the Celtics, because like I said, they're picking out their main weakness right now with the center rotation here, and I think Vucevic is going to be the long-term starting center. So I do like this move here for the Celtics here. Chicago gets Anthony Simons. I mean, he's a pretty decent scorer. So and I get this move why the Celtics did trade Anthony Simons, because the Celtics already have enough wing talent. Like they already have enough wing depth. So I completely understand from them giving them Anthony Simons in 2026 second round pick here. So I understand it for both teams here. But like I said, I do like the Vucevic sign for Chicago. I think he's going to be big for that team. Next up, we got Zubac. He left to the Clippers. The Clippers traded him. Anyway, like I said, I like this. The kind of like what I said about the Celtics. I do like this move here for the Pacers because they do find their long-term center. This Zubac, he's a pretty good scorer. He's a pretty heavy body to big down. So love this move for Indiana here. Also get Kobe Brown, and then LA receives Beather Mathurin. I do think the Clippers. I think this is good for them as well because I do think they need like another 3D, not a 3D player, but kind of like a 3D type scorer other than Kawhi. And then they get Isaiah Jackson. I think that's pretty underrated. And then they get some future draft capital. They get a 2026, 2029 first round picks, and they get a 2028 second round pick, and they're all going to be coming from Indiana. So that would be pretty interesting to see what that comes up there. Like I said, I do like Beather Mathurin. I think it'll be a pretty good scorer alongside Kawhi, and I do like Indiana as well because they need a long-term center, and they give Zubac, who was a pretty decent option. He's been a starting option the last couple of years. So I like this move here for both teams. Next up, we got the Golden State Warriors getting Kristaps Porzingis. Now, I know that Kristaps Porzingis, he's been in rumors talks. Well, the Warriors have been in rumor talks with Giannis. They've actually been one of the better. I'm not going to say one of the better, but one of the more teams that they had a chance of getting Giannis if the things went their way. And they just said, you know what? No, we're not going to get Giannis. Giannis already confirmed that he's going to stay in Milwaukee, so we might as well go ahead and get Kristaps Porzingis. And like I said, I do think this is a good. I think this is a good move for the Warriors because not only because you get Draymond Green out of that center position, which they really needed to. They really need to get. Well, they might move on from Draymond Green. But anyway, here you got Kristaps Porzingis, who's a really good scorer. He can shoot the 3-ball well, and now you're going to be pairing him up with Steph Curry and possibly Jimmy Butler maybe next year. I know Jimmy Butler's out for the year, which is kind of unfortunate now. I just looking at this, but he's gonna be playing with Kristaps Porzingis. He's gonna be playing with Steph Curry. Those two guys can light up the field from three. Kristaps Porzingis always found him as a pretty decent player. I think he'll be a good fit with Golden State. And then Atlanta machines Jonathan Kuminga and Buddy Hield. I think these two guys will be awesome pretty well with Atlanta. But I will give this one with Golden State. I think Golden State won the deal here. Just getting Kristaps Porzingis a 3-point threat big. I think that's really big for the Warriors here. So I'll give the side to the Warriors to win the deal. And ladies and gentlemen, last but not least here, like I said, the trade deadline was definitely busy this year. But anyway, we got Washington Wizards landing Anthony Davis and a Mavericks pivot here. So let's talk about this. This is a 3-3 trade, so the short to get Mackie Barham, and that doesn't really mean too much of anything here for sure. I didn't understand it. But when we look at this here, Dallas is seeing Chris Middleton, AJ Johnson, Tyus Jones, Marvin Bagley, a 2026 first round pick, a 2030 first round pick, and 3 future second round picks here from the Wizards here. Anyway, here, like I said, I don't think this is I don't really like this move for Dallas. I really don't, because Chris Middleton, I know we all know he's a decent scorer. We already know that, but at the same time, like, how is he going to fit in that system? How is he going to do with Cooper Flag? That's going to be AJ Johnson. Like I said, I don't know too much about him. Tyus Jones, I know he's a pretty good out threat shooter. And then Marvin Bagley, I think he's a pretty decent defender here. But I don't know what Dallas is doing. I don't really know what direction they're going into. I know that maybe they're trying to build around Cooper Flag. I don't know. I'm trying to find Dallas's identity, and I just don't get it. Meanwhile, for Washington here, I think this is a pretty decent. I kind of like what I said about the Lakers. There's a positive that you can take away about this, and there's a negative that you can take away about this. And with Washington, they get Anthony Davis, Jaden Hardy, D'Angelo Russell, and they get Dante Exum here. Okay, let's start with the positive here first. The positive is when Anthony Davis comes back, before I even start recording this, I did hear that Anthony Davis was out for the rest of the season. But when Anthony Davis comes back, with him and Trae Young and being in that roster, I do think that them two are going to create a big chemistry. I think it's going to be kind of something like we saw. Washington's kind of like one of those teams that has. Actually, I'll go ahead and finish this first. I think I was going to see kind of like this while I was getting ready to see from Kyrie Irving and AD, but unfortunately that just didn't work out. Both players were just not healthy enough. But anyway, here for Washington, I do think this Anthony Davis. I do think this is a big move, because now since you got Trae Young, you want to add a little bit more star power to Anthony Davis. But Anthony Davis is always hurt. Like he's never on the court, and like I previously said, he's going to be out for the rest of the year. So I do think Washington is going into that direction now. They want to take their assets this year. They want to get much experience, knowing that they don't really have enough time to make the playoffs, knowing that they're probably not going to make the playoffs. And then they're going to try to do something, and they're going to try to go for the playoffs or to play in next year. Because they do got some good pieces coming in, because they have Anthony Davis, you have Jaden Hardy that I actually do like. They have D'Angelo Russell, who I think is a pretty capable point guard. So I think Washington, I think these are good assets, but I just think they're getting ready. I just think they're preparing for next year. They're not really going to go for too much of anything this year. They want to get ready for next season. I think that could be another step forward, especially if all these guys are healthy and ready to go start of the year. We could see Washington be a better team than what they have been seasons past. So we'll see how that turns out. But anyway, here, like I said, guys, that's going to go ahead and wrap it up for my predictions here. Like I said, if you guys, well, not my predictions here, but the NBA trade deadline reactions here. Like I said, appreciate everybody's support. Make sure to hit the like, subscribe button. And anyway, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys do like this video, you guys know what to do. But anyway, here, I'm going to hop out of here so I can get this watched, so you guys can watch it on time. Appreciate everybody's support, and we'll see you guys next time. This is BabyNation.com. Peace out. Stay safe, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace out.